you doing? I don't know. I can't tell if I'm in ruins or I'm ruining myself. No, I don't know how you can help. I'm too selfish, put my issues on the shelf. Yeah, push them to the side. I don't even have the time, but I never used to lie awake at night, replaying lines from times so long forgotten, so often lost in thoughts I never thought I'd have again. I see your face in my daydreams and my nightmares. I think about you more now than when you were right here. I can't explain it, but something changed when you crossed the bar. You're too far now, you're too far for so long. Yeah, goodbye, I hope I see you on the other side. It's so long, yeah, goodbye, I hope I see you on the other side. Do you remember me? Do they have memories where you are across the bar? I keep remembering 1,000 times a day all the things that you would say, all the wisdom that you gave, and I can't keep it all away. But I try, oh I try. So what if I break? I'm already broken. So what if I'm fake? I already know it. So why do I try to hide? I just lie to myself, lie to myself, lie to myself, cry to myself so no one sees it. I hope you see it.
Yo, it's the Chop It Up podcast, man. It's your boy Hawklyfe.
Yo, what up? It's Murrls, and what the fuck was that? That was a bop, and we're here to talk with the dude. I got a couple questions off bat. Let's do this intro. What is up, Mr. Hyde? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
Chill it, chill it, chill it, chill it.
Man, that was a bop like my co-host said. We're going to get straight into it, and we're going to start off with that song. For those who don't know, that's Crossing the Broad, produced by Jama Agnai, and that's Hyde on the track. Man, tell us your creative process making that song.
Yeah, man. That was so. My dad passed away last summer, last July, and so, well,
Condolences.
thank you very much. But I wrote that in like November of that year, and I'm a pretty tough dude. I'm not really emotional. I don't really get into. I grieve a lot differently, I think, than a lot of other people, and so I didn't cry a ton. I wasn't broken up, but he was probably one of the people that was closest to me, and so I guess I just got to a point where I needed to express some things, and that song was how I wound up doing it.
Dude, that song was hard enough. You got an ash on the fucking interface after that bitch. You got one of those voices that when you hear the verse, you're like, damn, this man's got like a fucking voice for hooks. How is your hook process? What do you go through to like build a correct hook for you? Take us through the steps on that.
Definitely, I love making hooks. I actually started out as a rapper, not really so much of a singer, and I've learned to sing sort of over the course of a bunch of years. But when I look at a hook, I try to think about like what I want, a catchy melody, right? And I want something that is repetitive enough to be catchy, to stay in people's heads, but that keeps the energy moving toward an end goal. And so trying to find a balance there is really just a sort of feel thing, but working out first a melody with some lyrics and then trying to make it catchy.
So how long you been making music, and what has been the pros and cons of getting your music out there?
So I started off when I was really young. My parents made me take piano lessons, which was a blessing. And so I spent about a decade playing classical piano. After that, or somewhere, I guess, around 15 or so, I had a youth pastor who was really into rap music and got me really into rap music. And I grew up when Eminem and 50 Cent were the hottest thing ever. And so everybody was really into rap music. And so I started trying to do it myself, and I was awful, absolutely awful. But I've been at it for 15 years or so now, and so I've gotten a little bit better.
So how's them scales? You said you worked a decade. I know you got them scales down.
I do. I can still play scales pretty well. I haven't played for almost a decade, at least seriously. I've actually been trying to pick it up over the last couple months, but I can still play scales incredibly well.
Good, good, good. That's everyone listening. If you want to get good at playing any instrument, scales is the way. It's the most boring thing. It'll break you fucking down. But if you practice your scales, you'll get good. That's the only way.
This man is right.
Absolutely. When I look at your history and your experience, you have did some collabs with some people. I want to shout out a few of them: Mike Parker and Coco Lee, Yedo, uh, Hyride, Drago. Like, what's that process been like? Being able to collab with different artists and producers.
I've spent most of my time living in the middle of nowhere, various different parts of nowhere, but still the middle of nowhere. And so through the internet, I've had a wonderful opportunity to get to know some really, really cool artists. And I've just made connections through social media, through stuff like that. And I'm happy to say that most of those people are my friends. And like, so I have producers who are phenomenal producers, better than most producers that I run into or that I hear looking for beats, and they just send me their newest beat. I'm like, what do you think of this? And so it's so much fun to work with people, and I have a lot of really, really talented people that I get to work with.
My question is, why haven't you been signed yet? Because I have a sneaky premonition that you just scratching the surface of your talent at this moment. Because literally, that was a complete song that I can literally hear on the radio right now today. But and it's relatable because I felt every word. You know.
I really appreciate that, man. First off, but I think, I went through a period where I was trying reasonably hard to make a name for myself and get out there. And I didn't. There were a lot of things that you have to do. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that isn't the music. And I will always love the music. I have always loved the music, and I still love making stuff today. But I got really tired of doing all the other work. And so so right now I'm one semester away from graduating from law school, after which I'll take the bar and go on to be an attorney, which is going to be awesome. I'm hoping to work with some artists that are really awesome and that are willing to put in that other work. And I'm just going to keep making music that hopefully resonates with people like you until I get tired of that, which is going to be never. So get used to a lot of it.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to, like you said, you've met friends on the road, on this proverbial road. Do you, first off, shout out any of your friends that you made the connection with, and like describe that connection, because there's a special like connection when you're just like fucking making music, and like you got a dude who's like on your wavelength, and you're just like, yo, bro, let me know, like, what is this? What do you think? You know what I'm saying? Like, describe that, because it's an intimate connection a lot of people haven't like discovered yet, and I think that's the best thing about making music, is making those connections with dudes whenever you're just like fucking like cooking shit up together.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think the person that I get along with best musically is Yedo, and he is an absolute beast. And he, like, I've sent him random hooks that are good ideas but that don't have beats, and he finds phenomenal beats for him out of nowhere. And when you get an idea, neither of us are very consistent, so we haven't had time to make a ton of music, but everything we've made has been fantastic, and it goes really quickly because we just understand what we're trying to do with the track. And so he'll throw out an idea, like I'll send him a hook and he'll throw out an idea for sort of a pre-hook or a post-hook that ties the whole thing together. And it's just really cool being able to, creating is a really difficult process, and it's hard to get your ideas into words, into musical ideas. And so having somebody else who can take your start of a good idea that you don't know what the hell to do with and take it and flip it into something that is entirely different. And so I guess just building something together sort of piece by piece where they're adding and contributing something to what you bring to the table is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more, man. It's one of the finer things in life.
No doubt at all.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to artists that you not I don't want to use the word imitate because that's not what I'm trying to go through. When it comes to artists that you look for inspiration or you just enjoy listening to, give us like a list of what you like to listen to when you're not making the music.
So I have sort of odd musical tastes at times, but my first sort of four artists that I look to really get inspiration from and who I'm relatively excited when they drop an album. Kanye West, I still love everything that he does. It's always so weird and so interesting. And if there's anybody that I've imitated, it's him. It hasn't worked out because I'm not Kanye, but I have definitely tried to be Kanye in the past. Frank Ocean is another one who just what he does is weird and unexpected, and I don't understand it, and that just encourages me to try new things, to experiment with stuff. Um, I also love Black. I love his lyricism and sort of the simplicity of the way he does things. So those are some of the really big name guys that I look at. On the other side, I have a friend of mine is a drummer in this really fantastic band called Four Story, and it's this sort of funk pop hybrid band, but it's super interesting. And because I know him, I know what the process looks like and how he gets from point A to point B, and I still don't understand how he comes up with a product that good. And so that inspires me to just try to keep getting better at getting everything to sound exactly the way it should. Um, and then I have another dude named Cosmo Sheldrake who is out of the UK. I don't know him at all, but he has the weirdest music ever. And anytime I find myself in a little bit of a rut, I can look at what he's doing and it can help me just look at the song or look at the music a little bit differently.
So as we're getting closer to what the fucking Grammys, I hate. I'm not a big fan of the Grammys. I don't think they always showcase the best of the year. But what do you think was the best drop this year? What do you think was like the fucking hottest, the best fire that came out this year?
Gonna put me on the spot like this. I'm not sure that I've listened to anything from this year, and I certainly haven't listened to enough. I have heard music from this year, but like I have no idea. I'm lost in my own weird little law school bubble and have no idea what's happening in the musical world.
That's totally fine. It's been an interesting year, and as life comes on, eventually what I'm saying, you'll hear things because there's this weird thing where people are like obsessed with the newest shit, but life is a weird stream, a weird river is winding. Eventually, if it's worth hearing, you'll get to it. How
I,
is law school?
law school has been a lot of fun. It's been a really great choice for me. It's analytically challenging. I'm a pretty thoughtful guy, and so having to work through some of those problems is a lot of fun. And I've had an opportunity to work at the law firm that I have a job at coming up at the end of next summer, and the work is just so interesting because there aren't always answers out there. You aren't trying. It's not. There's not an objective answer. It's not 2 + 2 = 4. It's here's a set of facts. Figure out what the hell this is or what we're supposed to do with it, and that's just a really interesting process to me. So I've really enjoyed law school. I'm really looking forward to actually getting to work.
And I think that's so
What?
cool that
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think it's so cool that you're going to law school and you finishing up and trying to become a lawyer. So I have to ask, defense, uh, you know what I'm saying, defense of prosecutor.
So there are a couple of different ways to look at law. And so you're thinking about like trial courts, and I'm never going to see the inside of a courtroom. That is my goal in life, is to never try cases. I want to do all the paperwork. All the paperwork, I want to do it. So all your contracts, anything else you need done, hit me up.
Absolutely. I sit back there and be the clerk. Absolutely. One of my favorite songs, your collection of songs, was 4 Hours. Um, it's actually the first song that introduced me to who you are. At the same time, I heard 4 Hours. I heard Crossing the Bar, and I saw what that gave me was the opportunity to see how versatile that you were. Like, because with Crossing the Bar is more of a sad song. With the other song, 4 Hours is more of a bop. Uh, it's
For
more
sure,
than
for
one
sure.
singer. You know what I'm saying? But it
Absolutely.
shows your versatility, and I wonder how you like how these songs come into you. Do they play into your real life, or it's like a sound you may hear? Like how do you compose these melodies?
So I'm gonna come back to 4 hours because that has a fantastic story behind it. But I think everyone's trying to have their own sound, right? To develop their own unique thing that they do. And in searching for my sound, I think I've tried literally everything.
Yeah,
And I can do most of it pretty well. And I enjoy doing most of it pretty well. So I kind of just keep doing whatever I want to do. Uh, but the inspiration itself, it might come from hearing a song and wanting to try to create something that sort of has that same vibe, same feel. Uh, 4 hours I created for a competition. Um, but I and you got the beat as part of the competition, and so I got this beat, and I was like, I love this beat. What am I going to write about? And so a long time ago, when my wife and I had been dating for a little while, we were in college. I spent the summer at Zion National Park in Utah, which is a beautiful place, and she spent the summer back home.
yeah,
And so she flew out. The closest airport was in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is about a 4 hour drive. And I got into the car, drove out to get her, uh, picked her up from the airport. It was 3 in the morning, drove back, and spent the next day hanging out. I was exhausted. And at the end of the day, I gave her this fantastic uh, necklace that I've been saving up money for. And I gave it to her, and she basically told me that she didn't know if it was going to work out and tried to break up with me. She didn't. I didn't let her, and now we're married, and we've been married for 7 years. Fantastic. But
yeah.
that is the inspiration for 4 hours.
Man, it's a beautiful story, man. No doubt. Uh, no doubt, man. A lot of people can relate to the makeup and breakup stories. So to hear it and hear that it worked out even better, that made it even sweeter. Um, but yeah, man, that's dope. What kind of artists inspire you? Like I know you said Kanye. If there was an artist you could collab with, who would it be?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
If there was an artist you can collab with, who would it be?
That's a tough
Yeah,
question.
there's a lot out there. Deep, deep.
It probably is
Mm.
Kanye, but I don't want to collab with him as a vocalist. I want him to produce stuff. I think that his production is on another level, and I just want to have somebody like that design helping to craft the song as a
Yeah,
whole.
Kanye is amazing. He is. I can imagine him. He's a mad genius. Um,
He definitely is. You could also swap out like any of the ridiculously good producers that are out there. Like I'd love to have Dre produce something for me, or and again, the list is endless, but it's out there.
So obviously you're juggling a lot. What would you say are like the top three keys or the most important like thing to time management? And if you had to tell the audience that we have how you construct time management as an idea, what's most important to you to make it work?
I think that there are a couple things, and the first thing is to prioritize, figure out what's the most important thing on your list that has to get done, and start there. Work your way down. I know it seems obvious, but sometimes you don't want to do the hardest thing, which is the most important thing, and so you get lost. Another thing that I actually think gets overlooked is giving yourself breaks. And so you need to be dedicated, you need to be working, you need to get stuff done. But at the same time, sometimes you're exhausted and the work you're going to do is crap. So take the night off, relax, give yourself a breather, and come back at it again in the morning.
absolutely. Yeah, always remember to take your sabbaticals, man, because give your mind a breather. It's good to have that fresh thinking and come back and start off fresh the next day.
Exactly. You can't think tired. You can't do anything tired. Like give yourself a break occasionally.
Speaking of tired, what's your since you're going to school, I know I don't even have to ask if. What is your favorite coffee? Like, what's your favorite? Like, are you an Irish? Are you Irishman? Are you like a straight no cream, no sugar? Like, what's your perfect cup?
I don't drink coffee, and I
What?
think I'm the only person my age in my situation who doesn't drink coffee, but I really don't. I'll occasionally have a cup. I usually have it black. I have recently started drinking like Monster's energy drinks, which are
Mhm.
surprisingly good. So that is my source of energy.
Noted, noted. I whenever I can't have coffee brewed by myself, I usually drink the Monster coffees. They're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty great.
They are pretty great.
I ask a lot of
So, I know we touched on it a little bit. And I was gonna ask this question earlier. So what specialty, like I have an idea based on what you've said so far, but what specialty of law are you going to practice? I'm assuming it's, let me know if I'm wrong. I'm assuming, you're going to do, I guess entertainment law maybe, or if that's the correct term, you're gonna represent people in a management sense on the legal side. Am I right?
Yeah, so that is I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and the firm that I work at, I love. I'm not really interested in going anywhere else or working 80 hours a week like they do at law firms in LA and New York. Um, but I definitely want to, as part of my business, be representing artists and producers and helping them get what they need to be done. I have plenty of experience getting fucked over by people, and I'd like to save as many people as possible from that if I can. Uh, but actually, right now, it looks like at least a good chunk of my business is going to be franchising, which is not something I would have guessed going into it, but it's a pretty interesting field. And there's a senior attorney who's retiring at the firm in some point in the near future. And so I'm going to sort of take over his business and work with some franchises. But I will definitely have time left over for music. And that is something I really want to help represent artists. So I definitely will be doing some of that.
That's dope. So before I ask you questions about representing franchises, before I ask you about how to help McDonald's and different things like that, what are the pitfalls that you see in a legal sense that most artists that are trying to pursue a semi-serious career or a serious career, what are the most common pitfalls you see?
I think the biggest one, and it's the one that always gets me, is the too good to be true trap, where somebody starts selling you something that sounds way too good to be true, and you buy into it and drop a lot of money, put a lot of time and effort, whatever it is, into it, and wind up in a situation where you just can't get that back. And frankly, it's not probably enough money to worry about going to court over or doing something else like that over. So you're just screwed. And so even as an attorney, I probably can't save you there. But if it is too good to be true, it is too good to be true and isn't that good. So if you're an artist out there, seriously, the next person who hits you up telling you that they can do whatever wonderful thing for you, it's not true. You can work, and that is literally the only way to get forward.
absolutely. The only way to get forward. You gotta work for what you want. Nobody will give you nothing. Nothing in this world free, man.
That's exactly right, man. That is exactly right. And you get told that so many times, and still somebody comes up to you and just smooth as can be tells you what they can offer you, and it is hard not to buy into it, but don't.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we get people from different Discord servers everywhere on the internet. They're super common. It happens, and it's uh it's unfortunate because like at some point you don't know who's pulling the scam. If they're successful, I guess they're pulling the scam, but if they're unsuccessful, they're scamming themselves because like
Really?
I've seen plenty of people be like, "Oh, I have this amazing opportunity. You just, you help me. We unite forces in a sense. I post your music, I do this and this, and it gets like two follows and it gets two plays, and he does that for 50 different people and they all get barely any attention anywhere, and he wasted all that time. Now, is it the artist's, that got scammed? Because all he had to do was send you some music. Or is it the dude trying to promote that got scammed, wasting all his time for nothing fruitful? And a lot of people fall in that pit trap on both ends. There's a lot of unsuccessful people trying to promote other people's stuff and other people's work, and nothing gets done. They waste all that time.
That's definitely true, man. Like I agree. I've experienced that on both ends, and like it's promotion is a really hard thing to do legitimately, which is why artists I think should be really skeptical of anybody promising you stuff. And at the same time, I've seen people that are desperately trying to do good promo, and it's just hard as hell.
It definitely
It
is.
is. It's all about the people you know.
Absolutely. It's a it's a it's a journey. It's a journey. But how important is the creative control process to you when it comes to your music?
What do you mean by that?
Like if a label was to offer you money and say, well, you gotta sell me your masters. I like to ask a lot of artists what's more important: creative control, fame, and money.
So again, at this point, I'm not. It's not really where I'm trying to get to. But
Mhm.
even when I was, I think there's a balance that can be hit in there. Probably, it's hopefully my
Mhm.
job in the future is to help you find that balance if you're an artist. Uh, but I definitely value creative control more than I do the money or the fame, especially at this point. But I'm really I think that there again is that balance to strike, but especially where labels have increasingly been putting off signing artists until they've already made a name for themselves, giving up the like they can't do nearly as much as they can do, or they can't do for huge artists nearly as much as they can do for like artists like me who have almost no following. And so if they're not going to take a risk and they're going to make me do the work until I have, millions of streams every month on Spotify, why should I pay them for all the work I've done at the very least?
Absolutely. Know your value. I tell a lot of people know your value. And a lot of these artists don't know their value. They get
Absolutely,
they
man.
suckered into these contracts where they done sold 60 to 70% of their masters and they have to pay for it back, and then they can't get it unless it's over 50 years or some crazy wild stuff Diddy did with Mace. Like he had to wait till he was like 50 or something like that. You gotta wait till something like that. Just weird stipulations and you know oh, this is like TLC, who sold all these records but had no money at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And at the very least, make sure that you have an attorney who is willing to sit down with you and explain to you in layman's terms what it is that you're signing. Do not sign a document that you do not understand.
Period.
Yeah, that's pretty good info for anything, not even in this particular context, but any document. Don't let never sign anything without reading. Number one, most people don't do is they don't read their leasing document, and that's the most annoying thing. Like I had a neighbor that we shared backyards with, and he got fucked over really bad. He came in before me, and there was a different owner, and he got fucked in because he was grandfathered into this shitty clause, where his rent had to go up a certain amount every year, and because he didn't read the fucking lease, he got shit on.
Yeah, e- especially leases. Leases are usually not that bad. They're like 10 pages long, and you should definitely read your lease. That's an important one.
And and always keep a copy. One time I got out of a
Definitely.
lease because management switched over and they didn't give any paperwork to the new owners. I got out of so much. It was beautiful. Uh, but I kept my lease and I was like, and when I asked them to show the paperwork, they didn't have it. I got all of my pet deposit back. It was beautiful. So it goes both ways. Once
Man,
again.
know your shit. Know your shit. It's really important.
I kind of think I
So,
know.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I kind of think I know where you're gonna go with this answer. But still, when you think of the process that you took, would you have changed anything, or do you regret any way, any part of the process that life has taken you on the journey it's taken you?
No, I don't regret anything in the sense that I think it's all a part of who I am today. there are at the same time lots of things that I regret and would have done differently with hindsight. If I were doing it over again, usually the things that I regret are not the times where I lost out or I had a learning experience or I didn't get to where I wanted to go. Uh, but there are definitely instances in my past where I wasn't as good as I wanted to be as a human being, not as an artist, but as a human being. And if I could change anything, if I have regrets, those are the regrets.
So speaking of regrets at a national level, we America's been going through some interesting regrets over the past year. Um, how has COVID and the pandemic situation been for your part of the country?
Pretty smooth, honestly. I live in Nebraska. Our governor has we aren't closely packed together. We don't have any huge cities. Omaha is the biggest. It's about a million or so in the metro area, but it's big, so not cramped in together too much. Cases are rising right now, like they are everywhere. But overall, our governor's been pretty good at shutting things down when they need to be shut down and opening things back up when it's safe to do so. I kind of expect that we're going to see another shutdown, but it hasn't been terrible. Also, super blessed to be able to do law school essentially from home, and my wife can work from home, and so we haven't been directly impacted as much as I know a lot of people have, and that's a huge blessing.
That's good. That's good. It's definitely impacted different parts of the country very differently. But I know the rural areas, some it's a hit or miss for the rural areas. Some got completely obliterated, and some still haven't felt any effects at all.
Yeah, I'm sure that I can find somewhere in Nebraska where nobody's doing anything and they're just chilling around living life.
That's how it is in West Texas. There for like all summer there wasn't any cases. My parents, they're teachers, so they had like the entire summer off and a little bit extra because of COVID. So they just stayed in West Texas and acted like this whole thing didn't happen. It was insane.
That's how it be, man. I would tell everybody stay safe, stay masked up if you can. This COVID thing is real. It's crazy. Um, but for those who've been affected, and they got loved ones in the hospital or loved ones in Paris, you got my condolences and my prayers. Um, our prayers at the top of the podcast. But yeah, dude, man, it's been such a trying time. We gotta the only side reason I got one of the good things that come out of 2020 is Trump leaving office, and he ain't doing that quietly right about now. He pardoned Michael Flynn. What? What? Who told him to pardon Michael Flynn? But that's another story, another news. What y'all think about the president though, and Michael and Trump pardoning Michael Flynn?
I'm actually interested in this answer from you, Hyde, as someone who is pretty literate in law, at least to some extent. Maybe not in like I know it varies between what you're focused in, but someone who, you know, professionally dabbles in at least general law and then specific on other terms. What is your thoughts on his? Well, I mean, he's had just some pretty crazy pardons so far. But specifically, like, what do you think about the Michael Flynn pardoning?
I haven't even seen that, and so I have no idea. To be perfectly honest, go in cycles and waves of whether I pay attention to politics or not because I pay attention to it for a couple months and it drives me insane, and then I ignore it for forever. Um, and so I'm not sure what I'd have to say about that right now without looking a little bit more into it and what the situation is.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That, by the way, is a textbook lawyer answer,
Yeah,
just in case you were wondering.
straight to the point. Uh, Uh, but yeah, man. Tell the people on what social media platforms they can find you on. You know.
Definitely. So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not terribly active, but it's at Hide the Rapper. I will let you know if I drop new music there. On SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, every other platform ever. It's Hyde. not the most original name. You might have to do a little bit of searching, but I will be there. And I'm also on Facebook as Hyde. So those are the 3 platforms. I'm old. I'm sorry. I don't do new things. You'll find me there.
Shoot, man. So that's all right, man. Well, first I'm gonna say, man, it's been a pleasure having you, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, anytime. And I'll definitely deep dive more into your music. That was a pretty dope track. Hawk also sent me some things I listened to is dope as well.
Hit
I
me up
can't wait to
anytime you
dive
want to
in
talk
more.
about it, or if you want to collab, feature on something, let me know.
Will do, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Before we get out of here, man, I want to first tell everybody, the fans know this is our Thanksgiving episode. So I want to thank everybody. I want to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving first and foremost. Enjoy Turkey Day with your family. When I get off the podcast, I'll be cooking all night. I ain't tripping though. I'm ready. Yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's something religious about cooking, man. Getting a big meal together. It's a spiritual experience.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, it's gonna be a good night. You know what I'm saying? Blunts and turkey, you can't go wrong.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a lovely night. You know, just an announcements real quick. Put that battle rap event. Plug talk on the goddamn on December 4th. That's coming. Stay tuned on that. Also, we got more interviews coming. Stay tuned on that. Um, like how I said, go subscribe, go show him support on all his platforms that he's on. Also, breaking news. Chop It Up the podcast is now on Anchor. It's also gonna be on every streaming platform. Give us about a week or two, it should be on every streaming platform. Chop It Up the podcast. So please go and support the movement, support the BRK movement. Um, a big thank you to everybody that's been a part of this movement that we've been expanding and we'll continue to expand. Yeah, man. Like I said, shout out to everybody, man. Y'all have a blessed Turkey Day. It's been the Chop It Up podcast. It's your boy Hawklyfe.
Yo, what up, Smurls? And once again, the sequel to last January's collab release you heard from RJB, I think 2 podcasts ago. He's been cooking with the boys. He is basically one of the boys at this point. We're gonna be dropping the second NOH on January. Be on the lookout. New Year's is coming. It's
Yeah,
Merles and I'm out of here.
shout